record, and then we hit that button on that second syllable, that chord.
Right. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Record.
Hell yeah, King. Killing it.
I miss Justin.
I know. What's our podcast called? Case Reopened. What a cool name. Hello and welcome to the Case Reopened podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Trees, and joining me, as always, is the homie Kyle. How's it going, Kyle?
It's going. That's the only thing I have to say.
And we are not joined by Justin, as he is dealing with some acute bronchitis, which I think he was just smoking too much reefer, man. I think he's coughing too much.
Weed.
I think that's how it happened. I'm not a doctor, full disclosure.
It's true.
I believe that's how it happened. So, you are the soju in training now, Kyle.
Soju in training. I was saying that this makes sense because soju is a Korean drink.
Man, did you know what that was when Justin's first joke just totally bombed? Did you know the whole time? Because that makes it so much ice cold. He tried so hard to pop us during that first episode, and we just totally no-sold it.
I definitely didn't know where he was going with it.
I see. All right, so we're gonna kick off the episode with episode 5, the Bullet Train bombing case, and this originally aired February 5th, 1996. Kyle, you were what, 4? No, 3? 3. You're a year younger than me.
I was 2.
2? You're 2 years younger than me. Let's see. So you're a little 2-year-old baby.
A little baby.
And I don't even know where I'm going with this. What's your train experience like? How often are you on trains?
I never ride trains, not in the States. But
have you traveled to your homelands of Asia?
Yeah, I went to Korea once. I didn't ride a bullet train, but I rode something pretty close to it. And I forget what it must have been called. But it's very cool. I don't understand why we don't have that tech here. It's just, that's what a lot of Asia feels like to me. I don't understand why all of this stuff is in Asia, all this really cool stuff, and we don't have any of it.
I agree, man, totally. I just want to get in a train. I want to go fast. Have you ever been to Japan?
Shoot me. Like a bullet, right? That's a bullet train. I've never been to Japan. Have you?
No. I've never even left the country, so I'm an all-American boy.
An all-American boy?
Yeah.
As they would say.
But, we're going to Japan through the power of anime today. And this episode kicks off with Conan and Ron and Kagero on a train. And Kagero is shaving himself because they're headed to a wedding.
His beard, right?
Yeah.
That's the part he's shaving.
What else would it... What other parts would he be shaving?
I don't want anyone to be having the wrong impression. This is a kid.
Right. Let's talk about how we groom ourselves downstairs. This is a logical talking point. Thank you, Kyle.
Ever use neat?
Ever use what?
Veet? Is it Veet?
What's Veet?
Veet?
What's this?
Is that cream that you put down there? It's for ladies?
I'm not a lady.
It's that cream. It'll dissolve it for you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you just put it down there and wait an hour.
Do you use it?
I'm not gonna say no.
See, Justin leaves the podcast for one episode, and then things just go off the rails.
It's a bad
initially, but we get to see Conan. He has a new pair of shoes. How do you think about this new invention that Dr. Agasa cooked up for him?
I mean, this show is throwing new inventions in left and right. I can't keep up with them, but I like the idea, especially since they set up that whole thing where he kicked the soccer in the second episode or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Just it didn't work. So
it's called long-term storytelling. And then he also has spy glasses now.
He didn't use them, did he?
Yeah, because the listening device was part of his glasses, and that's how he heard them.
See, I can't keep track of these.
And then the detective boys are in this episode.
Yes.
And here's a fun fact, Kyle. They were not in this in the manga. So this is
why
a
why
totally
did this
new thing.
anime like the detective boys so much? They keep throwing them in everywhere.
I think it's because they planned on like building a lot of filler episodes around the detective boys, so it was good to get them, like constantly shown a bit. So I think
situations they would never be in.
I still think it's like it doesn't make sense why they're there because first off, they're headed to a wedding. Are you just gonna bring like a bunch of random kids?
Yeah, they really
to the
don't
wedding?
do a good job explaining it either. Don't they just say like, "Oh, their parents paid us" or something?
Yeah, 0 cents. Like who's wasting all that money on a train ticket? Because trains aren't that inexpensive. Like my God Lord. And so like Conan runs through this train for a bit because Kugou is like, hey, isn't it strange that this kid's parents hasn't like contacted us once since we took him in? So his like reaction to play it cool was just to dart off into the train. Like Conan is still rather bad at acting like a kid, but he spots 2 men in black. What were you thinking when you saw these men in black at first?
Because it's happened so often, I felt like now was the time. Like, okay, these are probably the guys. Because the one with the long hair, he seems more recognizable than the other one. So in the back of my head, I assumed like these seem like the guys.
So Conan follows them into a dining room, and then he prepares his spy microphone, which was like a part of his glasses, and then he puts it underneath their seat by sticking it to gum. But then Ron's like, "What are you doing under there, Conan?" And then she totally ruins it. But then we get Ayumi, like as the cute little girl she is, like wraps it in paper and puts it in the ashtray. And this actually works better because it's a better listening area. So like all that all worked out despite some issues. And then Conan sees the Men in Black again, but it's not them. They're like poor rip-off versions. Were you disappointed by that?
Yeah, I feel like at a certain point, I mean, the show is so long running. Like I said, I think last episode, I shouldn't expect to see those guys and them be the real guys anytime soon. But I don't know. I'm ready for it. So I was disappointed.
So here's a fun fact, Kyle. In the manga, those actually are the guys.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Why?
I have no clue why they changed it. They turned them into totally random people for this.
I'm so confused.
Yeah, they totally like there's very few episodes of the anime that like differ significantly from the manga, but this is one of them. They like just totally changed the identities of these guys because that's really them in the.
It seems so arbitrary. And not to spoil what happens later in the episode, but like I mean, we'll get to it later.
Yeah. I'll point out the difference there too. But so he's overhearing the conversation when they get back, and he knows something is up because they don't have their bag that they had earlier. Instead, they have like a briefcase, which is probably filled with money. And so he's listening to them talk, and they said that they got $100 billion, and they gave the other person a bunch of information on gold, but they're never going to actually obtain the gold because there's a bomb in it that's going to explode at 3:10. So Conan is shocked by this news, and they're like, it's going to blow this whole place to dust. And so he just screams out dust immediately afterwards. And then we get this hilarious scene where him and the other kids like cover it up by like doing math problems incorrectly. Like I'm sure it's probably made more sense if I like knew the language, but it just seems so stupid in English. I loved it.
It's real cute.
And then so they get off the train, and I thought this was kind of an odd scene because Conan like is like running after them as like. It didn't really make sense to me. What did you think was going on here? Because I think it makes sense if they were the people that he'd run after, like the people that poisoned him, that he'd run after them like this.
That is a good point.
But like he needs to stop the bomb. So why would we be trying to get off the train here?
Was the idea that he was because he was like, I still need to question them or something? So like,
how's he gonna question him? He's a little kid.
Yeah, that's a fair point. It does make sense.
So I thought that was a bit a bit of an error there just because of how they changed the story. And then he talks to security, but nobody's listening to this kid. But Kyle, if like this little kid came up to you and he was like, "There's a bomb here that's gonna set off and destroy everything in 20 minutes," would you believe him?
Yo, I'd kick that kid. Like, what the
You'd
fuck are you doing? What are you doing?
You'd probably
Talking about
steal their
bombs and
Game
trains.
Boy.
In a post 9/11 world, you're gonna say this? Get out of here.
So this was written in a pre 9/11 world. So remember that.
It's fair.
And then he figures out that the person must be in a non-smoking car, and then he narrows it down to 4 people that it could be. There's a businessman that's like wearing a fancy gold Rolex, and he's got his laptop out in 1996. There's this nice lady that says she hasn't been in the dining car. And there's an old man. When Conan asks him if he's been to the diner car, he's like, "I love going to Disneyland." And then there's this Yakuza type that's just super scary looking. Who did you think it was from that initial pairing?
They set it up like it would be that Yakuza guy. I thought he was like Kazuma or something. He definitely looked, especially what was in his briefcase later. He just definitely seemed like a character that was out of those games.
Yeah, this was like Kiryu before Kiryu. So Conan gets up there and he messes with the Yakuza guy's briefcase, and he's like, "Don't touch my stuff," and he tries to grab Conan, but it sends his briefcase falling, and they're like, "Oh god," because we think it's the bomb. And then Ginta just appears out of nowhere to catch it, and then he drops it.
Why does he drop it? Is he clumsy?
He was like startled because like the man was like, "Give it back," and he's like, "Ooh." And then boom, it hits the floor, and we think the whole train's gonna explode, but instead we get a bunch of boxer shorts that with like heart designs. So he's really just a romantic, and the man's all embarrassed, and then the kids get kicked out of the car.
He's a sweetie at heart.
But yeah, I really like that scene, just like Conan trying to like figure out like which of the 4 people. There's a lot of good humor there. I love the Disneyland bit, and then it's always funny seeing a tough guy with like cute boxer briefs, you know?
It's a good joke. Although it's another instance where now that you tell me that the detective boys weren't there originally, it just seems like they're inserted into places where like things would have happened anyway, but they're just there for like a quick like a little joke. Because like I assume the briefcase would have fell and the boxers would have plopped out in the manga.
Exactly. And then when instead of Ayumi like placing the gum in the in the
ashtray.
In the ashtray, it's Ron doing it and teaching him not to play pranks. So like they're all in these very like secondary scenes, but I think they add like a fun layer of like flavor to them that like the story didn't have. So I didn't have an issue with it. I will get to Justin sent along some information here on his takes, so we'll let him have his say. He wasn't as high on it as I was, but I thought those were really cute scenes. I love the detective boys just like you do. So Ron finally finds those kids up the no-good, so she drags them back to their car. And then there's only 14 minutes left. Things are not looking good. He needs to figure out who has the bomb. He's trying to come up with, like, how are they triggering it? And then he remembers the Conan clue. The Conan hint was cell phone. So it's like, oh, okay. So it's the lady with the cell phone. And then, but before this, he's like, oh, God, I needed to, like, let me leave. So he's about to spill the beans already. Like, Conan is so bad at, like, keeping a secret. It's like every episode early on, he's about, like, just gonna spill his identity. But thankfully he doesn't, and he figures it out. He runs to there. I like his distraction too. He uses the detective voice. He's like, hey, Ron's gonna buy you food. And they're like, oh, I want this, and that. And so he runs there, and the lady already dialed the number, so it's getting intensely dramatic. And then he cranks up that shoe, he kicks the briefcase, it goes out the window and explodes. And like it's a really intense scene. Like Detective Conan's definitely more about, you know, the mystery, but like they do action scenes really well. I thought this was a really good moment.
Yeah, I loved it. There's something about the tactile feedback of like the gadget in his shoe that I really liked how like he just cranks it and then just runs over and kicks the briefcase. Whenever they do commit to action, I think they do it really well because there's like so little of it in the show.
And then Conan, again, really bad at like playing his role as a basic kid because he wants to brag to anybody. And this is definitely like the Shinichi in him, where he just wants to brag to anybody that sees him. He's like, she's like, who are you? And he's like, Conan Edogawa, a detective. And then Ron shows up and he's like, but really an elementary student. And
he's so bad at it.
He's so terrible. And he never gets any better. He's like this braggadocious manner to him is just a constant character trait. And then the police show up, they arrest the woman, and then they show the two men in black getting arrested as well. So that's a difference from the manga and anime too. Like she can't have any information to give them up in the manga. So
okay, I see.
So they are arrested.
The guys in the anime, are they a part of the organization still, or are they just literally random guys?
I believe they're just random guys.
Okay.
Because they never show up again. This is the first and only time we'll ever see those knockoff gin and vodkas.
Cool.
It's I think this is the episode where he learns their code names. I think that's like the key, because their names are gin and vodka. And I think that's where he learns it in this episode in the manga. I guess I'll figure it out later some other time.
Interesting. That's the bit that Justin was doing in the first episode?
Oh, yeah. Okay. No wonder you didn't understand it. Because they don't like have their names actually spelled out in that first episode.
Yeah, was it you? Did you bring that up?
No, it was Justin.
Okay. Either way.
Every single person in the organization, their code name is like an alcoholic beverage.
Interesting.
So that's why me and Justin were bringing that up. And that explains why you were so confused.
It's like, why are you a margarita or whatever?
Well, I just enjoy a margarita, let me tell you.
Hey, Applebee's, you know.
God bless. So it ends with Conan vowing to find the men in black, and but they were late to the wedding, so that's a very sad ending. And then we have a little fun scene after the ending song where Ron is like, Conan, what were you talking about earlier about your real identity? And then I'm sure this is better when it's not translated by fans, but the kids answer that it was just a smart prank, which is a weird identity, but okay. And then we get the next Conan hint for the next episode, which is chocolate.
I love chocolate. Big fan.
So before I get your take overall on the episode, because I know you enjoyed it, and I enjoyed it too. I really like the detective boys being added. I thought that was a good change. But here's Justin. He was upset, Kyle.
Oh, no.
He said, oh, my God. How do you take a somewhat important episode, take the concept only, and change everything else to make it not important? Not even the kids are supposed to be there. And they made certain scenes actually feel awkward and lose some emotional moments as well. And so I think the parts that he's talking about, like the emotional moments, would be the ending scene where she asked him about the identity thing. And I'm sure he came up with some different thing there. I don't know offhand, but I think that's what he's referring to there. And I think that's a fair point. But I thought that change worked for the anime, which is like pretty lighthearted in nature. So I don't take issue with it, but it is stupid that they replace like the men in black with like two random people that look like them. Kinda.
It seems pretty dumb.
And
I get what Justin's saying though. I think the only reason why I really liked it was just because it's such a lighthearted episode, and I prefer those. I prefer the ones that just feel really goofy. So
yeah, we're 5 episodes into it. We haven't had like a ton of murders yet. Like it's been pretty varied in like what's happening.
Yeah, I really liked the case in this one too. It seemed pretty interesting to follow. Like they were trying to stop a terrorist bomb threat.
Yeah, it's a very fun case and like something we can all relate to. So Kyle, have you ever stopped a terrorist attack?
No, unfortunately. I let a lot of people down.
So I know. Have you ever been complicit in a terrorist attack?
I can't say that on the air.
Okay. So the next Conan hint is chocolate, and that will deal with this next episode 6 here, Valentine Murder Case. And this aired February 12th, 1996. So Kyle, I'm sure you know, as a gentleman that is successful with the ladies, Valentine's Day is February 14th. So this was a very timely episode when it aired.
I would
And
imagine.
so it was just 2 days out from the holiday itself. And so before we get into it, I want to talk a little bit about Valentine's Day, Kyle. What's your favorite Valentine's Day memory?
My favorite Valentine's Day memory?
Yeah, you're a romantic, I'm sure.
Oh boy.
What gifts have you given?
Gifts. What is it? I feel like most of my good gifts come around like birthdays or Christmas or something. Like anniversaries. Valentine's Day I've never particularly cared that much about.
Is it too consumerist for you?
There is no ethical consumption. So I think the big thing about Valentine's Day to me is that everyone goes out. So I don't want to celebrate on Valentine's Day. It just seems like hell. So be smart. Wait. Take your significant other out like the weekend after.
I once bought a girl like $70 flowers, and then she was like looking into how to return them. So
is that true?
Yeah. So like
I know no one can see this because it's an audio podcast, but like I could see it on your face. Just
yeah, like I do not choose women well, clearly.
Did she figure it out?
Huh? Did she figure out how to return it?
Yeah.
I think she was,
$70,
I think she was like scolded out of like not returning it by her friends.
Oh,
Who thought I was being sweet, by the way, because I am a romantic at heart.
Were you guys together, or was it like a?
No.
Okay. So
it was like a friendly thing.
Okay, I see.
It wasn't anything. It wasn't a grand gesture of love or anything.
I was about to say, like, you got a bad girlfriend, man.
Girlfriend, come on, Kyle.
I know. Look at me presuming it could be a guy.
Kyle, come on now. I am a Rico Suave to the 10th degree.
We should have a video podcast just for your facial expression.
Wow. All I'm saying is that I no longer try to date. I'm happy just being voluntary.
I think dating's bad.
Women are beneath me. That's why I only So you want to use the hashtag men going their own way, MGTOW. It's great on YouTube. A lot of great videos with other men that have just given up women. And we're reclaiming our lives from these terrible heathens.
Is that a Volcel?
Hey, there's nothing wrong with being Voxel because they're just voluntarily
that's how you say it? Voxel?
I think so. That's how I always said it. I don't know. Like Volcel, maybe? I don't know. Voluntary. It's voluntary celibate because you get incel, which is involuntary. So I Volcel. So Volcel, I guess.
Oh, speaking of incels, there's a character in this next episode that we'll get to, I guess.
Yeah, I saw a lot of myself in that character.
Tyler.
Wow, I'm just being honest. Okay, so the episode kicks off with starting. We get to meet Sonico, which is Ron's friend, and they don't really go into it a ton here. But Sonico is very rich. She's very well off, and she's from a very well off family. And we'll learn more about her later on. But what's your first impression of Sonico?
There were a lot of new characters in this episode, so you gotta. I don't even know which one that was.
So Sonico is Ron's friend, the other school.
Oh, okay. So this is when they're talking in the school uniforms, right?
Yeah, she's also the girl that if you scroll up in my notes, you'll see "Love Me with My Chocolate," and she's really.
I thought she was charming at first, but if I started to hate her really quickly.
So to bring up my boy Justin, he said. Also, yay, Sonico first appearance. Get used to her now because she barely changes. So
good to know. Is she like a recurring character?
Yes, she's like one of the main recurring characters.
Oh,
so
wow.
She's like she's Ron's best friend. So we'll see her in future episodes. And I think I don't agree totally with Justin. I don't think this is her most charming episode because she's kind of like just she always has this like romantic thing where she's kind of lovesick and one dimensional in that regard. But I like Sonica quite a bit, so I think you'll be charmed by her as the series goes on. But they ran into two guys earlier, and one of them has a crush on Ron. And then meanwhile, we get to see the detective boys. They make a quick cameo in this episode, and they are handing out flyers. They're trying to offer their services to everybody, and Ken's just above it all. He's just like, these kids, don't they know I am the great Shinichi Kudo? I am above this. And it kind of reminded me whenever I'm working at like a gaming site now. I'm like, you peons, do you not know you're working with the great Tyler Treese? And I am above reviewing this shitty Nintendo Switch game, and I should be managing this place. I only say that with like 1% of sarcasm. But yeah, County's just he's checked out. He's over it. But then he notices Ron being asked out on a date to go to a Valentine's Day party, and then Sonica like quickly accepts because she has a crush on this kid named Katsuhiko. And Ron's all upset about it, and Sonica's like, "Oh, do you like that detective? Do you like Shinichi?" And then Ron gets all upset. She's like, "I don't like that detective geek." And Cannon's like, "Oh,
what a dork."
I know. Like I really enjoy the play on like Ron and Shinichi's, like will they, won't they? Like neither of them have confessed to this point, and neither of them will confess for quite a long time. Not to
That's
spoil.
my favorite part of the show. I'm not going to lie.
Well, let me tell you, there's a good 950 episodes until they actually confess their love.
I mean, it would be strange, I guess, to see Ron talking to a child and saying, "I've always loved you."
Well, come on. He's going to keep it under wraps. Especially how good he acts.
Oh, for sure.
Totally never suspicious.
Bro.
And so we get to see Ron cooking chocolate, and then we get to see Kagero, and he's just drunk laying on the floor, like totally hungover. I love Kagero. He's great.
He's my favorite character, I think. There's not enough of him, to be honest. Like, I just really wish there was more stuff with him. Because, like, he shows up whenever there's a case, but, like, other than that.
Yeah, hopefully we get some. I think he gets some chances to really shine later in this first season. But he really is just a fantastic character. He's such a goofball, but like they add some more depth to him that reflects really well on him. So Conan asks about the chocolate and asks if it's for Shinichi, and Ron's like, "Oh, who's that? I forgot about him." And he's just crushed. He's just And then Kagero gives his daughter advice when she's leaving the house the next day, and he's like, "Hey, get a rich guy." And that's good advice because, like, when I'm thinking of what type of girl, like, I'm not that I'm above them now because I'm hashtag men going their own way, but I would be okay with like a sugar mama, you know?
Oh,
yeah.
Yes, indeed.
If any podcast listeners here really wants to fund my extravagant lifestyle of being a journalist, get in touch with me. We can make this happen. And that's why I podcast. I don't know about you, Kyle. I'm just trying to like trick some sugar mama into
sugar mama
for me.
I mean, it'd be consensual, so it wouldn't be a trick.
Exactly. So there you have it. It is consensual.
Be careful.
As long as you're not tricked. So.
Oh boy.
You said it. So Conan sneaks into this guy's trunk of his car, and then he follows them to the party. I don't know what his greater plan was here. And then he's just awkwardly standing outside watching that. Like, this is creepy, isn't it?
Yeah. I just love how entitled Shinichi is acting. Like, oh, Ron, no. I am a boy, but I am still the boy.
So we get to meet everybody at the party. They're all part of the Baika University Tennis Club. And everybody's seemingly having a good time except for this one guy, Namichi. Kind of reminds me of Justin. He's very antisocial. And,
Jesus. What a drag.
So we meet two girls. There's Kaori and Yoshimi, who took a break from fighting the giant pink robots or whatever the Flaming Lips album is. And then Toshihide, which is like the guy that likes Ron. He describes himself as very nice and strong, but also very sensitive.
What a sweetheart that guy is. I love him.
He's great. He's a great character. I really felt myself as one because that's how I describe myself. That's actually my Tinder profile. It says very nice and strong, but also very sensitive. Strangely, nobody swipes right on me. I don't know what's going on.
You got to use a picture of that guy.
Oh yeah, that'll get him.
He's a hunk.
He is a hunk. Very nice triceps. So Conan's annoyed that Ron's having a good time. he's terrible.
Freezing out.
Yeah, Shinichi's terrible. And then we're introduced to the guy that's throwing the party, his brother, which is a little small kid, and his mother. And then Conan like sneezes because it's cold or something like that. And then Ron notices him, and she's like, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, I was in the neighborhood looking for a friend, and then I got lost here." It just made the explanation was really bad. And then we witness a bit of a tiff between the friends as Katsuhiko gets mad at Justin, basically, for being antisocial. And they say, "I'm sick of your face."
Doesn't he ask him to like entertain them?
Yeah, he's like, "Why don't you entertain?" Have you ever had like friends over for a party and things just go terribly wrong and there's a big blow up?
Every time I've ever been to any social gathering, it goes all wrong.
It reminded me of like the very first episode of the OC where they're all having a party, and then Ryan Atwood gets into a fight with Luke, and then Luke punches him, and he says, "Welcome to the OC, bitch." We didn't get anything as epic here, but
that's how they should start every episode.
For real. "Welcome to Detective Conan, bitch." That's what he did after he.
Or would Shinichi be the puncher?
I think Shinichi would get punched.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, that's how every episode is. Kaguro, he punches Shinichi in the head, and he goes, "Welcome to Detective Conan, bitch." So that's how every episode starts. Conan jokingly thinks that there's probably poison in Sonica's chocolate because she just has like a very one-note personality, and she's not like a great person, so to say. And then Sonico follows Katsuhiko because she's going to give him her chocolate to show that she's interested in him. Because the whole point of this party is that girls bring chocolate and then they give it to the guy, and if the guy likes them, they'll eat the chocolate. It's very strange. Is this an Asian thing, Kyle?
I was trying to imagine. I feel like this might be a Japanese thing. How like in Eastern Asian countries, like Christmas is a romantic thing. Like it's
is it?
Apparently.
Are you romantic on Christmas?
I'm never romantic.
Oh wow. Damn. I feel bad for your girlfriend.
You should.
Jeez. So Kaori beats Sonico to the confessing her love. And it's kind of like a Ron Shinichi thing where they were childhood friends, but he declines it. And then Kaori's like, "Oh no, you do like Yoshimi." And then Sonica is also upset by this. So this guy just broke two girls' hearts. And Sonica just she like comfort eats. And she just devours her own chocolate. It's a hilarious scene.
What else can you do? You know?
Yeah, so.
We've all been there.
What's the funniest rejection story you have, Kyle?
The funniest rejections?
Yeah, from a girl. Or from a man.
Yeah, I appreciate that. There has to be one. I'm trying to think.
I'll let you think and tell mine.
Okay.
So I was at a theme park, and I liked this girl. Like we were friends, and I won a prize for her. You know, like being the romantic I was. I got this cute ass Care Bear. I don't even want to know how much money I spent playing these carnival games. So I go up to her, I give her the Care Bear. I think I'm all smooth, and she throws the Care, and it had the heart on it too. It was like the loving Care Bear, and she throws the Care Bear back at me.
Damn!
And she says, "I don't want your love." I'm not 100% sure she actually said that, but she definitely threw the Care Bear. Like, it's in my mind, she definitely said that, but I can't remember. I can't like fully remember. I don't want to like cast her in too bad. Like, I can't remember if she actually said it or not, but I feel like she said it. Certainly felt it when she threw the Care Bear
Was it
back
one of
at me.
those? Was it one of those relationships where like you guys were friendly? So like if they would have said something like this, it wouldn't have been like with as much malicious intent as like.
It was like a joke,
Okay, okay,
but it
but it still hurt.
it hurt.
Oh boy,
And we were still friends afterwards and stuff, but like, oh,
the only one I have, I think, is like there was a girl in one of my classes that I was too nervous to ask out, so I had to do it in like this really roundabout way. And so I asked them to go see a movie with me, and they said yes. And like they kept coming up with the excuses why not to go.
I've had that happen too.
Yeah, that's the only thing I think. It's not really funny. It's just really slow and dragged out.
But I do like Kyle, like with that like brief brag, like, yeah, I've never really been rejected.
It's because I'm too nervous.
Pretty cool.
I'm so afraid of rejection that
cool with the ladies. I don't really get rejected. I'm the one turning them down. You know?
You're right. I'm a king.
King Kyle over here. Okay, here's my favorite part of this episode. So the big buff guy, Toshihide, he's so nervous and he tries to hold Ron's hand, and we get this great scene where it zooms in on his hand and he's like finger walking across the screen, and then he finally grabs her tiny hand, and then he's like, oh, I'm just gonna do it, I'm gonna kiss you, and then it winds up it was coded. So he just like sexually assaulted this little kid.
There's just something about that visual of this giant guy and like Conan's ridiculously small body smacked up against his face.
Just a great, like, I really liked it. Like, I had a fun time with this episode. Like, there's some really good scenes. I love the character of Toshihide. Like, it's just a really fun episode. And then here's an important thing to note: the small kid, Susumu, he gets yelled at for eating chocolate because Kaori gave it to him after she was rejected by the main guy, and then but the mom was like real mad. She's like, you have cavities, you can't be eating sweets, you know this. And then Namichi is mad that Kaori's upset, and then he's like, Katsuhiko is a worthless person, I'm gonna blog about this later.
Blog about it.
Yeah. Have you ever read Justin's blog? No, I don't even know if Justin has a blog. I'm just
wow.
I feel like he has a blog. He's probably still on Tumblr. So then the mother tells everybody to sober up because like the son is just like he's a little shit face at this point. And then she gives dessert, which is like coffee and cake. And then after the son drinks some of Ron's coffee, she immediately puts a fistful of a cake in his mouth, which he gladly eats. And then Katsuhiko, he's trying to light a cigarette. He's out. And so he bums one off Namichi. And then he goes outside with Yoshimi. However, after he lights up the cigarette, he falls over and he's dead. A shocking twist to the episode, Kyle.
Thank God.
Were you glad to see him die?
So happy.
You didn't like him?
Worst human I've ever seen in this show.
Damn.
Like, I'm glad he got murdered. Stupid. He's like a high schooler, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's such a little shit.
Yeah, but they have time to change and become a better person and grow as a human. Jeez. So it's revealed that he like had some of Yoshimi's chocolate before dying, and then they call the cops, and Kogoro also comes by because Ron called, and then he immediately just accuses Yoshimi, and she's like, well, obviously he ate the chocolate, that was poisoned. And so the lab's like, okay, we'll test the chocolate for poison. And she's immediately starts bawling. And Conan's like, I know this show. Shit has to be 10 times more complicated for that to be true. Because he's even like, man, this is way too simple. Can't be that. It's never the most logical way. Which I thought was like a fun way of like acknowledging how ridiculous the solutions can be at times.
For sure.
And then he's like, what else could it have been? And then he's thinking, oh, maybe the cigarette. And then, oh, sorry, I lost my train. I'm gonna have to edit this.
It's going pretty well.
It was going well. Words, man. So Meguri asks Nalmichi if he did it, and then he immediately confesses. He's not even trying to like play any games, and he's like, I put poison into the cigarette's filter. But then Conan, the observant one, because nobody else pays any attention, notices that Katsuhiko removed the filter before he smoked. So it actually isn't that. But they're still going to book him up right there. And
I mean, shouldn't they?
He did admit it. So
he's admitting to wanting to murder this guy.
Yeah, it is attempted murder either way. And what a Justin thing to do.
Justin.
Going after this dude because like the girl you liked was more into him.
Hey, it was righteous, man. It was righteous.
What a soju move. And then the kid is complaining about his cavities because he had that cake. And then Conan notices the mother like frantically washing all the coffee cups. And then we get to find out that Conan has another invention from Amagasa, a tranquilizer watch. What do you think about this one?
Why not at this point, you know? If he's going to be doing the voice thing, he needs a way to knock a dude out and impersonate them. So
I think it's good because like we don't want Kagura like getting too much damage to his head.
Do we?
Like, I don't want to see him. I like Kagura. He's my favorite character.
He's just catatonic by the end of the show.
Yeah, so he knocks him out with a dart, and then he explains that the real murderer is the mother. Were you surprised? Like they obviously hinted at it throughout the episode, but were you surprised it was the mother?
So this is the interesting thing. This was the first time that I feel like I was able to follow the logic of the show based on the clue. So like they were doing a good job of like explaining that like whenever the mom gave the kid the cake, that's when it like hit for me. It's like, oh, okay, something's going on. And then with the chocolate, I was able to like piece it together. And then whenever, like, it didn't shock me whenever Conan was looking over and she was like washing the dishes, and he was like, oh, what is she doing at a time like this? It's like, oh, okay, I see. The only thing that shocked me was like the reason, which I thought was absolutely freaking wild.
So, like, would you say that the writing here is, like, from a case standpoint, a bit stronger than usual?
Definitely, yeah. Like it seemed like it was much better thought out. Like it still felt like they were writing it backwards, right? Like they wanted just have a big twist, so they figured out what the twist was and then did it backwards. But it fit together much more than any other case, I think.
So here's the fun thing here. This episode is the first anime original that we've hit in the series.
I was thinking about that too, just because
this wasn't even written by the actual author, and this is the one that you praise the most for its writing.
Who created this?
Gosho Oyama.
Obviously a hack.
But yeah, I really like the case here. Like they do a good job of making it, you know, like a logical thing where they plant enough clues and it's easy to follow. And like sometimes you want to be shocked, and I feel like the series does definitely deliver that in spades. But like I like this, like you kind of know, and then we'll see a lot of variations as the show continues. Like I really do think its strength is just, you know, really switching up scenarios and keeping it fresh, because like there's only so much things you can do with crimes, but like they keep it fresh. So this is a really fun thing. But yeah, so he reveals the mother put the poison in the coffee and then the antidote in the cake, and then she laid down a poison chocolate when she found the body. But like she's like, hey, but where's the proof? And Conan's like, first off, bitch, we've got poison in the cups. Even though you wash them, they'll find it. And either like the cups or the drain. And then, oh yeah, that chocolate's melting your kimono, you dumbass. And then she's like, oh. And then it's revealed that Katsuhiko was adopted. And they kind of played it up earlier because they were like, oh, hey, you and your younger brother don't look anything alike.
Oh, I didn't get that.
Yeah, they mentioned that early on where they're like, "Oh, is that your brother? You don't look alike." And that his parents had passed away 7 years, and the reason why he liked Yoshimi more than Kaori was that she looked just like his mother. So I'm not sure what that means if he wants to have sex with his mother, or if it's sweet, like I kind of alternate.
Yeah.
What do you think? Is it sweet to want to do the
I would go
nasty with someone that reminds you of your mother, Kyle?
go with no.
No.
A big psychological factor going on here.
She then reveals that her husband's business had failed and she was trying to save the family by getting his inheritance. So it's a very sad ending here. What do you think about all that reasoning there?
Turned dark so fast. Like the whole episode seemed so jovial and like everyone's just having Valentine's Day fun, and then all of a sudden she's murdering her son because she's like wanting life inheritance or what?
Like
Money.
look at the state of this family now. So she's going to jail. The dad's business has gone up. They're completely broke. The one son's dead now. And then it's just this poor 7-year-old kid. He has like all this mental baggage and trauma to unpack
He's
now.
got cavities.
And he's got cavities.
He's got cavities. This is not the time for this. Imagine coming home as the father.
Yeah, he's like been working all day. And he's like, honey, what did you do this time?
You killed him?
Please tell me you didn't buy another purse. We do not have the money. Oh God, it's worse, isn't it?
Jesus.
So he's gonna be hashtag men going their own way.
Oh my God.
So that's gonna continue. Jeez, these women. So we get the ending song, and then we get one final appearance by the boy Toshihide. And earlier in the episode, Ron like revealed that she did karate, and he just was not believing her. He's like, a cute girl like you couldn't be into something so brutal and violent. And he finds her again, and he's like, hey, so about that chocolate. He's so oblivious that like she's not into him. This is probably why I see a lot of myself into him. And she's like, no, it's not for you. And then she yells at the poor guy, and then she punches a signpost that's all bent up. And then he like runs away, scared for his life, the poor guy. And then there's a sweet little moment between Ron and Conan where she gives him the chocolate. And then she reveals that she was going to give it to Shinichi. So we get a cute little scene in the end episode.
It's so sweet. I really liked it.
And then we usually don't talk about the previews for the next episode, but this was an exciting one, so I do want to bring it up. So then the next episode they showed is like Ron like being highly suspicious of Conan, and she's like, we actually see her call him Shinichi. He responds to it, and he's like, "Oh shit, she figured it out." So like, how excited are you for next week? Get to watch this episode.
I've seen it in the English dub.
Oh, okay.
So like I sort of know, but I mean either way, it'll be interesting.
Be highly interesting. And then the next canon hit is Barcode. So we'll have to keep that in mind watching the next time. We've got 2 more exciting episodes next week. Hopefully Justin will get over his bronchitis and stops hitting that reefer so hard.
Jesus.
Maybe he'll stop his like vape blog.
There are other drugs.
Did you know there's like cannabis streamers? Like that's a subgenre.
Wait, what? They just stream cannabis?
They're like
them.
Yeah, I smoke some weed and I'm gonna play Overwatch and call this chick the N-word, brother.
Are you talking about that video that was circulating?
Yeah, it was really funny.
Overwatch. Oh Lord.
Man, racism.
It exists.
It exists. But yeah. So Kyle, where can people find you if they want to watch you cannabis stream?
Well, I'm not cannabis streaming, but I do have a Twitch. I don't know my stuff though. It's probably Spirit and Soul, which is everything. But you can also find me on Twitter at Spirit and Soul. Soul like the city.
SEOUL.
That's right.
And then you can find me on at Tyler Trees. And then follow your boy Justin, who's sick. Send him some well wishes. He's at the Alpha Omega, I believe. Or is it Sigma Omega? What is it?
Oh, I think it's Sigma.
Sigma Omega. We'll figure this out
Sigma
live on
Omega.
the air. It's at the Sigma Omega. There we go. We figured out Justin's terrible Twitter name. We're just throwing some shade at our boy as he's
dragging him all episode.
He's like deathly sick. He's gonna download this to support his brethren, excited to hear what we have to say, and then we just drag him down in the mud. It's okay. He can blog about it and get in his feelings later. So it's all good. You can follow the podcast at case_reopened on Twitter. Love to hear from you. Reach out to us. We love Detective Ken. We love talking to everybody. The support has been tremendous so far. We hit 100 downloads total through 2 episodes. We've had more than 10 countries, almost every continent. I'm still waiting for South America, Kyle. That's the one continent that we don't have a listener in.
We got to stay strong.
So if you're from a South American country, I'm talking about my what is a South America country? I don't know, Venezuela. Like, come on, people.
Isn't that Central America?
It counts. It's the same.
Sure.
Is Central America even a continent?
I think so, right?
Is it?
I don't know what counts.
I don't think so.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, it wouldn't count.
Does that just count as North America? I think so.
Oh, God, I don't know.
Anyhow, somebody hit us up in South America. That's what I'm saying. And if you're a sugar mama, I can be reached at Tyler Street on Twitter. Give it. All right. So that'll do this episode. Thank you all for listening, and we'll be back next week and better. And Kyle won't make me reveal all the embarrassing moments of my love life. See, I was counting on Justin to be on because I was like, this dude is definitely not going to have a successful love life to talk about. And then I had to bring up all my embarrassing stories this time. And then Kyle just revealed he's a bad boyfriend and hasn't given any good gifts on Valentine's Day.
That's right.
But we'll be back next week. Thank you for listening. Bye.
Bye-bye.
You really are a bad boyfriend.